It's a blessing to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me.
It's my absolute pleasure. I was very excited when I received your message to join you. So
And please, let's open up straight away with what we were talking about with the health expression.
So currently I'm at the end of a health expression. So I like to think of, for anybody out there who hasn't heard of the term health expression before, it's the way that I like to describe getting sick, because really our body is designed to be healthy. Our immune system is designed to bring us back into balance. So therefore, if we succumb to a virus or infection, etc., then it knows exactly what it needs to do. So I don't like to think of it as being sick or there's anything wrong. It's a health expression. Yeah, so that's why I have a nice raspy voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. And I think it's a good perceptual flip for people and can help re-perceive the experience of the health expression.
Yeah. Yeah. And really in life, everything is just that tiny shift of perspective. Yeah. And then it creates a completely new picture. And I love to live from that perspective. Yeah.
On a similar topic, the coronavirus. I was at the shop yesterday and the shelves were quite empty. And I was observing a woman just really anxious, and she had a trolley full of toilet rolls and she was buying it would have been 10 to 15 big packets of cigarettes that I noticed they were $45 each, and she was just racking up. You could tell there was this anxiety and this panic buying that a lot of people are doing right now. It'd be interesting just to kind of pick that apart. I'm sure at least a couple of the listeners would be feeling that kind of panic that's going on right now with the coronavirus. How do you feel as a health professional and with the narrative of the healing expression? It's kind of a polarity, isn't it, between like the perspective of holy shit, this virus, panic buying, and you perceiving like, okay, there's this virus trying to give me feedback. What's the health expression going on right now? How are you perceiving this current coronavirus situation?
Yeah, it's a hot topic at the moment. And definitely I have compassion and understanding for people who are freaking out, because obviously our media has, generated that hysteria. And I read a really great article a few days ago by a pediatrician. And when you actually look at the statistics of the number of deaths and also the population of people who are succumbing to the disease, and the additional complications that they're experiencing from a health perspective before even contracting the disease. I feel like obviously we should be conscious of strengthening our immune systems and keeping ourselves as strong and healthy as possible, and avoiding going to high-risk areas where there are outbreaks. However, in the same breath, keeping a level head about it, actually taking a look at the statistics and being aware that the flu, for example, kills more people. Traffic accidents kills more people, right? And it's not the first time, and it won't be the last time that there's a new virus out there. There's a new one every year plus. So, I think that's a good way to look at it. And it's a little bit, interesting. You mentioned that the person you witnessed was loading up on toilet paper and cigarettes. Just from obviously a health professional's point of view, that you
priorities, right?
Buying into, you don't want to contract a virus. You want to hibernate and have a clean bottom. Obviously it's a well-known fact that smoking, it does kill and it does cause cancer.
Right.
So
quite a contradiction.
It's interesting. You'd rather die, in a few years, but not acutely from the virus. Yeah.
How bizarre, huh?
Yeah. It's interesting.
Very interesting. Let's move on to Kundalini. I know you're a Kundalini yogini. Mm-hmm. It's quite a loaded word. There's many loaded words, and that seems to be one that lots of different projections occur in again, the perception of what it is, possibly because it's kind of indescribable for one. But I'd love to get your perception on, for starters, what do you feel Kundalini is, for starters?
That's a really good question. Yeah. How long do we have?
We got a while. We got all day, actually.
Yeah. So Kundalini energy, really, it's just a word. It's that kundal. It's the coil of life force energy. And throughout many different cultures and many different traditions, it's described chi force. Some people may be knowledgeable in chi flow energy, which comes from traditional Chinese medicine. And really it's, as you mentioned, indescribable. In Kundalini Yoga, we really feel that Kundalini energy at our base, so around the sacrum. And then we use very specific exercises, pranayama, to move the energy up through our sushumna, through the central channel of our spine of our body, to really awaken every cell, every part of our physical, etheric, energetic bodies to live in full, complete alignment with our lives, our dharma, our truth. So,
well articulated. Thank you. I can hear it from, a lot of the listeners are regular listeners and yoga practitioners, but equal to that would be some that probably haven't even heard the word sushumna. What else could we pick apart a little bit more? That really, what to you is Kundalini moving through the sushumna? Try to speak to someone that's never heard of the word Kundalini or sushumna. What's going on with it?
Yeah.
I think it's good. I like going back to beginner's mind when someone doesn't have a clue what the hell I'm talking about. How is that actually helpful?
To really break it down.
Yeah.
And totally, I think the best way to describe it is really to tell a story of how I found Kundalini Yoga.
Please.
And how that transformed my life. Because I feel like every yogi will have a very similar story, in the sense that there was profound changes in their life, and that's really what led them on that path to becoming a truth seeker, to learning more. And I'm very aware of actually quantifying it too much to such a heavy level, where people are thinking, okay, so in order to experience Kundalini, I need to see colours and I need to feel tingles and I need to, because it isn't that at all. Yes, you may actually have those sensations and those experiences. However, to limit it to that, I think, is very dangerous.
True. Good point.
So essentially, I found Kundalini Yoga about 10 years ago when I was coming up to my Saturn return, around 26, 27. And looking for answers at that time. My life wasn't kind of going the way that I had like planned, and I wasn't feeling very content or at peace. I didn't realize how stressed I was until I actually found Kundalini Yoga and I experienced true, deep rest and healing. And it was a class with Jairam Kaur, and she still runs classes around the Fremantle area. And it was on Thursday mornings for 2 hours, which I thought was ridiculous because me being I tried all types of yoga, like Hatha, Bikram, Ashtanga, Vinyasa, and I just thought it was stretching. So I'd been to all the classes and 2 hour plus class, like this is a huge chunk out of my day. But I went and she was getting me to do all these weird things like mantra and breathing and lying down and resting for long periods of time. And I just thought, oh, look, I'll just keep on going for a few sessions. And then I started to notice positive changes in my life. So I started to notice that I wasn't snapping at my husband so much. I was just naturally happier. I was a happier person. I was more present with clients. I could sleep better. My life was flowing. Opportunities and new ideas and new things were coming into my awareness, and I was excited about life, more energy. And that would last for a few days after the class. And
That's
then they were good classes.
Yeah.
And then towards like Tuesday, Wednesday, I started to get grouchy and things weren't working very well, and I just craved, and I look forward to those classes and that time on Thursday mornings. And then myself being a doctor of chiropractic, I'm like, okay, what the hell is going on? Why am I noticing all of these physical changes in my body, beyond my body, and transcending into my life, just from going to this yoga class? And beautiful Jairam, it's not just a yoga class. So she explains quite a lot of the philosophy and the yogic anatomy. And so me being one of my main archetypes is the owl. So I am just thirsty for knowledge. I love consuming information, which can be at a detriment as well. I just had to know more. So therefore I did my Kundalini Yoga teacher training not long after.
So is that as taught by Yogi Bhajan or classical Kundalini?
Yeah, by Yogi Bhajan.
Yeah.
And that was over in New South Wales with Ramadasa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's circle back to the Saturn return phenomenon, because it's such a big one. And I think with a bit more understanding of Kundalini and the kind of obstacles that can get in the way of it, it's a big time for it, that Saturn return. And I can also relate to that big, like, breakdown of old constructs and a feeling of confusion.
Mm-hmm.
But then thankfully having a yoga practice to work with the resistance and the fear and the doubts, and to assist Kundalini in moving through. Are you familiar with like the grunties and the knots that get in the way of Kundalini?
Yeah. So the three knots.
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, there's a big one at the base of the spine that's huge for people, and often associated with like survival and that egoic identity and so forth. And that next one in the gut, I think that's a big one for people, especially when we've been socialized in our kind of culture to think, I am my education, I am my job, I am my money, I am my relationships, I am my appearance. And we get to that 27 age, which is notorious for stirring that identity up.
Yeah.
And people either have that choice to further reinforce that, you could say, false sense of identity and thicken it and just kind of just go down that kind of path, or go deep into a kind of rite of passage, so to speak, and uncover, who am I really? Who am I beyond the body? Who am I beyond my job? All that. And it's a potent time and a confusing time. And a lot of people actually kill themselves at that age, at that 27 to 30.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
A lot of musicians, it's a well-known.
Creatives.
Yeah, creatives that, especially if they've had fame around it and that identity has been really thickened of this is who you are, and they get to that age, 27, like, hang on, who I thought I am, who I thought I was, isn't making me happy. Like, what the hell? Yeah. And it's when a lot of people either, again, like just kind of go down that track of thickening that identity, or take a shitload of drugs and explore it in that way, and maybe even unconsciously self-destruct, self-kill the old parts of themselves, or go deep spiritually and like really shed old layers. And this knot in the belly, that kind of egoic knot, that's a big one for people. And the simple techniques of yoga, like as elaborate and full on as they can be, even just the belly breathing is huge for people. Like the amount of people I've seen that have been really wound up, and then just the belly breathing, when they learn that technique, I mean, even though it's not a full-on 2-hour Kundalini intensive, it can assist in that energy moving through that very
100%.
Do you agree?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's I'm definitely not an astrologer. Right. And my knowledge is very, very limited in this department.
Same.
However, I have witnessed the tumultuous time, around Saturn's return, not only for myself but also my friends and clients as well. And definitely Kundalini Yoga, it saved me at that time. I needed to be able to feel and tap into more than what I was experiencing and what I knew of the world to date. And going into the knots. So around that area, which I'm sure that a lot of your listeners know. You've got your third chakra, so like the seat of your will. Your construct, who am I, and the simple things are often the best. That minimalist. Belly breathing, I think it's like the number one exercise that I give to clients that I work with. It's so accessible, and the changes when people are practicing correct breathing, which is ridiculous. Isn't it? That as human beings, we can get all the way up to the age of 27 and not act plus and not actually know how to breathe properly.
Right.
It's really concerning.
Yes.
Yeah. So, literally just putting conscious awareness on the breath and doing deep belly breathing helps to restore balance and bring more prana, more life force into the body. And that in itself is transformational. Yeah.
Do you observe, like, for people that have never done correct breathing, there's like, so they've never done it, that maybe they've never experienced like true relaxation outside of having a drink or post-orgasm or something like that. They've never experienced like that type of regulation and relaxation. Have you observed like the resistance to it, the fear of it, and even sometimes it being quite cathartic, like an emotional release? Like, I've definitely observed that, like almost like both a huge like celebration of relief at the same time, like kind of scared. Do you experience that when you see people release into the parasympathetic nervous system and breathe properly and finally relax, like that kind of paradox of, I've made it, at the same time, like quite overwhelmed?
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, it's something that as chiropractors we witness almost on a daily basis with clients. Because we are balancing the nervous system. And essentially in our modern day age, being in sympathetic dominance, so where your nervous system is in that stress state, is an epidemic. So a lot of our work is working with clients to raise their parasympathetic tone and to help to balance their nervous system. And as you mentioned, that is amazing. An amazing experience, and also so much is stored in the body that when that is released, then all those emotions come out. I literally had a new client a few weeks ago, and she is in her 70s, and she cried on the table. And just from a simple touch where she finally got to release what she was holding on to in her upper back, just by being able to move and breathe properly.
Wow.
So a couple of points, it's never too late. So it doesn't matter where you are in your life journey. You have the ability to experience it. It's never too late. And also as well, it's easily accessible for anybody. So anybody can experience it, and even with them facilitating it, just learning simple techniques and having that for themselves. I'm big on empowering people to be their own guru and teacher, and
so am I. Couldn't agree more. At the same time, it is beautiful to be in community and to meet up with mentors and people that can assist. There is something beautiful to that communion, that touch as well, being with someone, especially someone that knows their shit and they can really take care of you. I think that's a beautiful thing as well, that mentorship I've definitely valued more and more over time. I agree we can all be our own guru. I think there's a movement of a lot of us taking that almost too far. We've gone from like guru is everything. If you're going to be a seeker, you got to have a guru, to this kind of almost this movement of anti-guru, which is completely understandable because there's been some dickhead gurus out there that have exploited their power, and I get why this kind of anti-guru movement has come up, and I feel I'm moving into the kind of, luckily I've had a beautiful guru that didn't do just shitty behavior as far as I'm aware, but we keep finding out more and more of these saints and gurus and that all their shit gets swept up in the accusations, which it's healthy. It's a healthy time for stuff that wasn't talked about not too long ago is finally getting talked about.
Yeah.
And I think it is helping people, find their own inner guru, their own power and their own autonomy, which is beautiful. At the same time, I do feel there's a kind of middle way. I think it's very healthy, especially with something like Kundalini Yoga, which is so powerful. I think that method of yoga in particular, it's good to reach out to someone that knows their shit, because it's not all unicorns and fairy floss. Like,
Absolutely
part
not.
of Kundalini awakening isn't just good sensation. Sometimes it's dark night of the soul and really scary shit can come up. A woman that comes to mind is an astrologer that we know, a really masterful astrologer in Arizona. And she described going through a Kundalini awakening process that went for a couple of years where she couldn't stop twitching and shaking. She was describing this energy that was like fire in between her throat and the middle of her head, a very upper Kundalini experience that it just wouldn't burn through, so to speak. And it was just a couple years of extreme discomfort. And then it finally opened, and probably because she is in that realm of working with a lot of psychic energy, and she admits that she kind of did too much, too quick, too much Kundalini, too much giving, and finally it was almost the equivalent to burnout, she described, where part of that movement of Kundalini was for her to not give out so much energy, just rest a bit more and seek out an expert Kundalini teacher, which I think has its place as well, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you're correct. Well, we're talking about life force energy, right? So yeah, and there's always equal parts of light and dark, and so it is extremely important that the Kundalini energy is respected and that it is brought up in the correct fashion, and that is integrated properly as well. And so there's some very important sequences that need to happen in order for that to happen, and also for people to integrate properly and not go into any psychotic or destructive states,
which is very real.
Yeah, yeah. And there was something else. Yeah, the middle path. As human beings, we are social creatures. So we're designed biologically, evolutionarily, to live in tribes, to live in community. And so absolutely we need elders. We need people who have been where we've been, people who have wisdom that we don't, to help guide us and tap into the knowledge that we're seeking and that we already know within us a lot of the time. I think it's really important, and I definitely see the work that I do as helping to connect and integrate people. Yeah.
Back to it just came into my mind of it's never too late. And it made me think of the phenomenon of, I'm not sure if you've witnessed it or heard about it, where it's pretty common, where someone on their deathbed, if they haven't dealt with their stuff, often, like if they've got a whole lot of suppressed stuff and they haven't expressed and released, and their nervous system is wound up excessively, often there is a case of expressing it all on those last breaths. You would think it's a time of like, oh, I love you and oh, thank you. But it's a pretty common phenomenon where the person on the deathbed is just blurting out all of their truths of like, you did this and I hate you, and anger, which it's never too late. You can even do it in that last breath of releasing the tension, but
ideally not the best scenario. And
it reminds me also of like kind of each moment and each practice is kind of like preparation for death in a way. Like I think of scenarios like that every now and then, especially in like Shavasana, which is meant to be like a mini death, a spiritual death. Like, if this was my deathbed, would I be free? Would I be grateful? Would I be in love? Or would I still have shit that I was regretful about or resentful about? And if that's the case, time to step up. And that really motivates me. Like each practice of like contemplating the impermanence, and it helps me get very motivated to face those knots and to step up and face any of those demons, so to speak, and get that release, because then we're better parents, we're better lovers, we're better at our work, everything. It kind of serves everything, doesn't it? So it's from self-care and taking care of ourselves, and then it always reflects externally.
Yeah.
Have you witnessed that deathbed phenomenon or heard about that before?
Yeah. So unfortunately, my mother's parents are on their way at the end of this life, and a lot is coming out. Yeah, some vicious words and emotions, and so I've been able to witness that firsthand.
Yeah,
and as you mentioned, why not work with releasing that energy now, getting rid of all the crap, aligning yourself so that you can be the best version of yourself in every facet of your life right now. Yeah, because time is the only resource, or the most precious resource. Yeah,
it's again such an interesting paradox where that middle way comes into play, because what's really common is like the self-improvement junkie, where we're just
self-confessed.
Yeah, and
my husband will tell you,
and just focused on constant healing and constant self-care, and it can become not destructive, or maybe destructive, but limiting in its own way. So there's that polarity, I think, of possibly taking the self-inquiry maybe too far, and then the other polarity of not doing anything, not doing anything to heal or grow and develop. So to me, the middle way is quite important for that, for me too. And I mean, parenthood has helped me with that big time.
Brings you present, into reality. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like anything, it's a seesaw, right? And if you go too far one way, it's not good for anybody. So I think the key is really staying in the middle of that seesaw. And it's always there's never an hallelujah balance, right? It's always a flux, a blend, an ebb and flow. So I think that yoga as a practice, meditation, is so essential because it helps you center so that you can see, you have that awareness when you are out of balance, and you can course correct at any time, and you have the tools to do that as well. Yeah.
Let's get to know you a little bit more. Let's dive into your journey. What brought you to Chiro? originally? What brought you into chiropractic studies for starters?
Yeah, good question. So I used to be a very high-level gymnast. And then when I was 10, I had a pretty serious injury. I did a somersault dismount off the uneven bars and I landed on my head. And after that injury, I was suffering with a lot of chronic migraines and torticollis, which is where your head is literally like locked to the side. And at the age of 10, I would wake up like this every day and think that I was dying. It was so bad. And my parents had taken me to physio. I was on muscle relaxants, getting creams rubbed into me, exercises, etc. And nothing was really shifting. And so they took me last resort. A friend of a friend referred a chiropractor. And that's kind of pretty much the end of the story, because as soon as he put his hands on me, I thought he was a magician, because he, just knew where all of the sore spots were. It's like, oh, yeah, sore here and here and here and here and here, and told me all these things about my body that were true. I'm like, how do you know this? Are you psychic? I just thought that he knew everything. Later on in my studies, I realized that it's a science and there's a lot of methodology to it. And story going, after a few short weeks, no headaches, no torticollis. And whenever I felt like my neck was bad or I was out of balance, I have vivid memories of waking up in the morning and yelling out to Mum, make me a chiropractor's appointment. I need to go see doctor. At the time, it was Dr. Robert Lee. And he just made me feel like magic every time that I got adjusted. So I wanted to be a magician. And then I...
Keep talking. I'm just going to turn on the fan because it's getting hot in here.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So I then learned that it wasn't magic. And I applied to go to university, and I was the first year of chiropractic to graduate from Murdoch University in 2006 is when I graduated. And I learned that it was a 5-year double Bachelor of Science. So pretty intense study. But well worth it. And since then, as I mentioned, I am a seeker of knowledge. So I've trained in Kundalini Yoga as well as some other postgraduate techniques to work with babies and pregnant women, as well as a neuroemotional technique, like to work with that mind-body connection and releasing held emotions in the body. I'm also a craniosacral therapist, so I've trained in that discipline. I'm a Czech practitioner, so I've studied Paul Chek's work. I'm a holistic lifestyle coach. I've also studied Reiki. Wow. As you can see, I'm
quite a resume.
Personal development junkie. Yeah. And
what's next?
So I'm at a really transformative time, I feel, in my life right now. So I'm in my 14th year of working with clients as a chiropractor. And I started my business, Open Space Healing, in Fremantle just over 7 years ago. And it's just blossomed. And now we're a team of 8, almost 9 strong. And with having 2 small children, so I've got 2 beautiful children, Allegra's 6.5 and Ami's 4.5, born peacefully at home. After having them, my priorities and my identity completely shifted again. And so whereby it wasn't, okay, I want to help as many people as I can and adjust them and be one-on-one with people all the time. It transitioned into, okay, I want to spend more time at home with the children. I want to connect with these souls and spend as much time as I can with them. I still want to help everybody in the world. So I've gone into more of a mentoring, training, managing role within the company. I took on a business partner, Dr. Jacinta DiPrinzio. So she joined me as a business partner a couple of years ago. And so now I'm in that space of I don't consult with clients so much. I don't take in any new walk-in clients.
Sorry, listeners.
Possibly in the future. Yeah. Possibly. At the moment, I'm at capacity. However, I've trained some amazing, amazing people to work with you, if you did want to, if you did want to experience our space. And yeah, it's growing open space. So now we're moving into, education. So Jacinta and I have recently started a YouTube channel and creating content and videos for our community to help elevate their health and also inspire them to new levels from a health and wellness and life perspective. And from there, I am also in the works of a new startup business, an e-commerce business with my business partner, Amy, and it's called the Gaia Guides. And essentially this platform is to connect people with amazing transformative experiences around the world. Because I'm in the industry, I'm lucky enough to have experienced a lot of these really potent, divine retreats and workshops, etc. However, I am aware that not everybody is tapped in to this community and are really needing it. Mm-hmm. However, they don't know where to turn or where to look. So Amy and I are creating a platform where it's easily accessible. It's almost like where you have your best buddy on the computer with you with insider reviews, explaining like spiritually, is this going to be tough or is this going to be okay? Mm-hmm. Like a little toe foot in, and all vetoed and vetted all over the world. Different experiences that help to transform this planet, as well as conscious gifts. So focusing on shifting from material, so buying material crap and polluting our earth, to helping to evolve our planet and raise the consciousness of our earth. Yeah.
Super inspiring.
Awesome. So that's where I am. I'm in a transition stage. I'm going from doctor person to mentoring, coaching, and then startup. There's so much happening. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much else I want to pick apart, but I want to come back to the spine and Kundalini just for a little bit longer. So as chiros, you're known to mainly work with the spine. But the more chiros I meet, they're all mystics working with Kundalini energy.
Wow, you travel in certain circles, Stuart.
All of them, like even chiros that I meet that seem just about the spine and just about physicality. I tune into them on a deeper level, and they're mystics. So, are you taught about Kundalini in Chiro?
Oh, hell no.
No, not even in like the network Chiro, or a little bit more in that. Huh?
Yeah, so network is postgrad.
Right.
So not taught at university.
Gotcha. Yeah. So
It's,
at uni, no talk of Kundalini?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah. At university, it's pretty much a very similar structured curriculum to a medical doctor, minus all of the pharmacology and surgery and pathology.
Right.
So it's cutting up cadavers and, okay, this bone's connected to that one and this is what that organ does, and heavy on biochemistry and movement. And exercises and rehabilitation and all of that, and the very physical, mechanical approach of pain and dysfunction in the body. So that's amazing. And obviously there's a huge place for that. And that is essentially how I started out as well. And the beauty of the profession is that it is private practice. So you can go and do postgraduate study and learn other techniques and other teachings to really weave into the work that you do with clients. And I liken chiropractic to, it's a science and an art form and a philosophy.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a melting pot. So no Kundalini yoga at university, that would be amazing.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe in 100 years, I don't know. Yeah. And the reason that we're so focused on the spine is because that's where your central nervous system is. And your central nervous system, the brain, spinal cord, they, in our physical body, they control every single function in the body. So through the nervous system, controls the beating of, heart, digestive system, endocrine system, hormones, muscles, So a lot of people, this is one of the most common questions that I get asked in practice, so I'm going to answer that for your listeners.
Please.
Is, what's the difference between physio and chiro, and why would I see a chiropractor? Is physio muscle and chiropractic bone? And absolutely not. So
I thought you were going to say absolutely.
No, not at all. So you're going to learn something.
I am.
Yeah.
No, I felt a pause then. Like the absolutely was going to surprise me. Not. Yeah, go for it.
I think that really everybody should utilize a physiotherapist and a chiropractor because it's apples and oranges. We do two completely different things. And I work very closely with a physio and we get amazing results together. As chiropractors, we focus so much on the nervous system because the nerves go to the muscles, they go to the organs, they help to regulate and to facilitate healing and growth in all areas of the body. So it's not as easy as dissecting, okay, this is a muscle problem or a nerve or a bone problem. Right. It's a complex. So when you're looking at a joint, it's got ligaments around it to hold it. It's got nerves that flow to the muscles. It's got joints that are full of fluid. So you need to look at the complex as a whole. It's impossible to distinctly define, okay, this is this problem and not that. Everything works together in a complex. And I'm speaking generally here because I know in private practice as physios and chiros, we all do very different things in our own offices. As a general rule, you will see a physio more so in private practice if you have an acute injury, if you need something that needs to be rehabilitated, etc. Whereas, in my opinion, I believe you see a chiropractor more for if you are wanting to create balance through your body and work on maintaining that that balance, that musculoskeletal nervous system balance. Yeah.
And the physios and chiros still butt heads a little bit?
It depends which ones you speak to.
Yeah. What do you observe?
Yeah. I guess I only associate with people who are open-minded.
Yeah. But you must observe it or not anymore.
Yeah. There are still a few people who are very dogmatic and stuck in their ways. Oh, it's my way is the highway, like my way or the highway.
Yeah.
My way is best. throw the baby out with the bathwater, or my client went to this chiropractor and they hurt them or whatever. So all chiropractors are bad, you know? Or, I think that's quite a narrow-minded way of looking at the profession. Obviously, there's going to be, you know, not so authentic or great practitioners and amazing practitioners in every single field that you enter into. Yeah.
But that kind of tribal polarity can be applied to anything. Different schools of yoga do that. Different schools and different religions do that, of course. That's blatantly obvious, but it can be applied to everything. Different alternative schools we're observing do that. I mean,
100%.
Everything. Different diet choices. I mean, that tendency to get dogmatic, righteous, and put against the other viewpoint is so common. Yeah.
And I think that, it's very easy to go down the rabbit hole, especially if, you see that what you're doing is the right way, right? You just go further away from center. And the most important thing is to have that awareness and to be conscious of that so that you don't go too far down that rabbit hole, which is where meditation comes in.
For sure. Yeah. And it's pretty apparent that tendency to put down others comes from insecurity, really. Like even people in your same field, super common, like that constant attempt to one-up them and criticize and put them down really comes from insecurity. Yeah. And in particularly, if we're going to put down an alternative viewpoint, it's pretty much from our lack of perspective and our lack of equanimity, really. So meditation, finding our center, finding a bit of quietness and compassion and wisdom really does help us see and appreciate all the various viewpoints and skills. And that seems really apparent in what you're doing in handing work over to your colleagues and collaborating, and you're seeing the beauty in what so many people have to offer with that Gaia. What's it called? Gaia?
The Gaia Guides.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly that. I mean, putting everyone on a kind of visible platform because you appreciate everyone's skills, you know? Really cool.
And thank you. And if you feel like you're the best and, you know, you have to help everyone and you're the bee's knees, then geez, you're going to get really tired.
Yeah. I guess that's the first bit of feedback, isn't it?
Yeah, you need to. Yeah, we all work better together. And it's about finding each other's gifts and working with each other for, the common good. There was something else that you mentioned. My husband has a really great mantra that he uses every day, and we use with the children as well. It's part of we've got our 5 family agreements. It's one of them, it's be kind. So it doesn't matter what anybody has said to you, even if literally they have said your name, like you are this or etc. It's just to know that it's not personal. They're going through whatever they're going through. You can't even fathom to understand their world and their subconscious and their programming and their experiences and what they might be going through. Take a step back and just be kind and just have compassion. Yeah.
It's huge. It's huge. And that's so beautiful to not install, but to have a part of your kids' awareness. We do similar things, but that's really inspiring, really beautiful as a kind of just foundation of awareness to get you through every part of life. I mean,
we're programming them young.
Yeah.
Positively with as much alignment.
We're all
and
programmed, aren't we? I mean, got to download the good programs if possible.
Yeah. to live in this world.
Yes.
We're here as humans. We're going to be programmed whether we like it or not.
And then they can unprogram when they get to Saturn return and program
and
with
they'll have
whatever
the
they
tools
want.
to be able to do that too as well. I'll give them the tools to deprogram whatever they're not happy with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I going to bring up? I mean, we are in crazy times, and if we look at the political constructs, the natural world we live in, we are in a very high-octane time where it's very easy to point fingers and to kind of get lazy and just point fingers and wait for other people to be kind before we're kind. Because there's not, if we go down the rabbit hole, not that I do, but it's an algorithm that can feed people's neuroses of just going down a kind of rabbit hole of outrage and paranoia and anger, because there is a lot of shit going on in the world.
Yeah.
But we've also never been so inundated with it all. Like the world's very small right now because of the internet, which is beautiful, but it's also overwhelming,
Yeah.
So I think there is a common tendency to forget that foundational awareness of being kind and compassionate, because it's so seductive to just wake up, turn on the phone, and plug into...
Oh, well, you shouldn't do that anyway.
We shouldn't, without a doubt. But why not wake up?
Or just say, yeah. Instead of plugging yourself into like the matrix. Like,
So it's a choice, and I think that's a great choice to remind each other, not in a dogmatic way, not in a righteous way, just remind each other, I need reminding. I'm sure we all need reminding, because it's a very distracting, crazy world we're in. So yeah, that's a beautiful reminder to slow down, be kind to one another,
And I absolutely agree. Definitely to find that compassion for our fellow human being. I think it's also very important that if you feel that anger and you're enraged about something and you're not happy with the way something is going, that you do something about it, that you fully express what you're feeling instead of bypassing it.
Yeah.
So I teach my 6-year-old, scream into the pillow, bash it, go hand scream, get it out. It's okay to be angry. Anger is a natural emotion. Get it out and let it go, let it pass.
Totally.
Yeah. And then you're in a much more constructive state to do something about it. Okay, well, what about this angered you? And when you find that out, okay, well, what's the solution? What can I do to make sure this doesn't happen again? Or what little step or little change can I make in this world to move in the right direction?
Totally.
Yeah.
And it comes back to that tendency of suppressing. It's a very common situation to try to put on that compassionate, kind facade, but underneath it, we're passive aggressive and hung up on all this shit, and we don't want to be doing that either. So, bang on for sure. We want to express and release in whatever way we can. I mean, that's an awesome tool. That's a classic one: screaming and punching into the pillow, the boxing bag, the dance it out, movement, dancing is a great way, ecstatic dance, all these ecstatic dances that are going on. I think it's a great way for people to express and release and shake off any built up energy. But I guess when we can utilize that energy of anger, which we've all got, and really get honest with it, and vulnerable with it, we can merge both compassion and anger. Like I'd never heard of that concept before. I heard of it from Sally Kempton. She was talking about anger and tantric ways to work with anger. And because anger is a hot energy, it's got probably the most
so much power,
chi and prana behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's going suppressed, we're going to turn into a maniac before we know it.
That's why there's so much liver problems, so many liver problems out there.
We're going to get sick or just be mad. And to work with it regularly, with our breath, with our attention, that screaming into the pillow technique, that's all so effective in cultivating that anger, because anger is good when we can work with it consciously.
Mm-hmm.
It's a force. Like there's so much vitality into it. And then our eyes are clear again, our vision's clear again, and we can like literally get charged up from it in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to the kind of, the kind of masculine way of getting like psyched off your adrenaline. It seems almost similar to that, but channeling it in an even more conscious and I guess heart-centered way. Like really, we can channel that anger and then bring it into compassion. It's a real force. It's a beautiful energy.
Yeah. And I think speaking into what you mentioned about all of what's happening around the world right now, a product of that, there's always going to be natural, equal and opposite consequence, right, for everything. So, a lot of people are angry, and rightly so, because that is the consequence of some of the problems in this world at this time. So suppressing that isn't going to help anybody. It's a natural balance where a collective to help to create the change that is needed in this world. Yeah.
What do you think about I see the stance quite a bit of like, oh, it's all perfect. It's all working itself out. What do you think about that one?
I feel like that's a little bit of
a bit of a bypass.
bypassing, a bit of spiritual bypassing, a bit of ignorance. I absolutely subscribe to the belief that everything unfolds perfectly.
Right.
Yeah. You're in the perfect place at the perfect time, etc. Yeah. Also, I believe that not everything is divinely timed or planned out. So we have our own free will, and we can manifest certain things in our reality and change the direction of things given the actions that we take as well. So just by sitting back and thinking, okay, well, everything's just going to sort itself out and I'm just going to meditate here in Fremantle and everything is going to be fine is, probably not such a healthy way to be looking at it and also operating, in this world. Yeah.
I come back to the spine again and again with you for whatever reason.
Maybe because I'm a chiropractor. Yeah, absolutely. I'm an open book. So whatever questions.
I've heard time and time again, especially early days in practicing yoga, in that you're only as old as your spine is flexible. Mm-hmm. You heard that one before?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100% true.
True.
Randomized controlled double-blinded studies have proven it.
Keep going.
No, I'm being a little bit facetious there. So obviously there are no clinical studies to show or to prove that. It just makes a lot of common sense.
Right.
Yeah. If you have your mobility through your spine, you're able to actively participate in activities of daily living. Enjoy walking and being in this world, then you're going to live longer. I love the blue zones, so where there are the greatest population of centenarians in the world. and I love reading about studies of the blue zones. And all of the research shows that these people, they are moving. They're moving every single day and, pretty much the entire day. And it's incidental movement, unconscious movement that you don't think about like we do, like, going to the gym or going for a run or doing a yoga practice. It's just their community is designed that way, and their role in the community is designed in a way that they're constantly moving their body. And it makes sense for me that if they are restricted in their body, and obviously the spine is the central channel of the body, so if your spine is not moving, then that's going to affect your limbs as well. Then you're not going to be able to participate in that movement and in your role in the world, and therefore, essentially, you die. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Again, the extreme polarities from the vast amount of people that don't move enough and move their spine in a full range, and then the abundance of yogis that I meet that actually injure themselves through overstretching, through moving the spine too much. So I see a lot of that as well.
Again, that's that seesaw. Yeah.
Totally. So taking the tagline, you're only as old as your spine is flexible. Okay. And then trying to reclaim their youth by
like Benjamin Button, like younger and younger. I don't think it works that way.
Yeah. They're complaining of this injury and that injury. So it's like too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. So it's that middle way once again, isn't it? Of that incidental movement, intelligent movement. That a lot of what I see on the yoga mat, like the extreme repetition of vinyasa. Not that I like to be anal about alignment, but I do think all the jump throughs and jump backs and is quite jarring on a lot of people. So they think they're doing a good thing, but they're just jamming the body again and again and again and again through these very often linear movements that apparently were designed for Indian teenage boys that were built in a particular way, So then you've got someone trying to practice anti-aging techniques and they're just jamming up the nervous system even more. Pretty common. I've seen that quite a bit.
And I don't like to be gender specific, but most probably a female as well. Yeah. I haven't seen any statistics. However, I'm assuming that the majority of the yogic population is female.
It's shifting.
Slowly.
But like just in my observation, I don't know stats on it either, but since I moved back to Perth, Frio, 10 years ago, where I would often be for one, there weren't many male yoga teachers. I was like one of 3 at the time or something like that. There wasn't many at all. And there would be just a few in a class. Say there were 50 people in a class, there'd be maybe 2 men, me and one other.
Yeah.
And that has dramatically shifted. Now most of my classes are 50-50. A lot of my privates are men.
Yeah.
And not even yogi, like your typical stereotypical yogi man. All kinds of men, very quote unquote normal men, which 10 years ago, hell no. Like I was getting called all kinds of crap from that viewpoint, that type of man. They just didn't get it.
Yeah.
Now it's shifted quite a bit, possibly through quite a few elite athletes bringing it into their game, coaches bringing it in, a lot of corporations. It's been mainstreamed in a big way, but a lot of strong male figures are broadcasting yoga very loud and far and wide. And who knows for whatever other reasons, but I've definitely seen it shift.
Yeah.
For sure. It's very cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. And it's speaking to that middle. So it's bringing things back into balance.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's such a important tool for us all. Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to share with the listeners? Anything else coming up or?
Well, if any of your listeners were interested in the Gaia Guides, we're working on it for launch middle of next year. So, yeah, hang on to your seatbelts. Yeah. We have very, very big plans.
Great.
For that, so it's really exciting.
And your YouTube channel.
Yeah, for open space healing.
I'll leave a link to that below as well.
Great. Yeah, we have had some really great feedback from our clients with the content, and they've made a few suggestions. So we've shuffled it up a little bit, and we're trying a few new things.
Cool.
So we're going to be releasing a few different videos very soon, and I think that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really beautiful to connect, and thank you for coming on down, and so great to share the conversation with our listeners.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.